Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is your host Alex, and today I'm going to talk about the worst entry of the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise, known as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, or as I like to call it, the MCU video game with Capcom guest characters. I'll go over the brief history of the partnership between Marvel and Capcom. It all started with The Punisher as a beat-em-up game, and then X-Men Children of the Atom became the foundation of the franchise, and X-Men Children of the Atom was very successful. Then came Marvel Superheroes with other Marvel characters entering the fray. And then the crossover that kicked off the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise with just X-Men and Street Fighter. Then after X-Men vs. Street Fighter came Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. And then came with the most well-known crossover of all, which is Marvel vs. Capcom. Then after the success of Marvel vs. Capcom, came Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with more characters in the roster. And that has become a massive hit. And then after 10 years of its hiatus came Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with new graphics in the style of a comic book. And within the same year of the release of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with more characters, new stages, new modes, and then you could play as Galactus when you reach a certain goal in the game. And then 5 years later, during the State of Play in 2016 for PlayStation, a new game was announced in the form of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. From the way it looks, it may look promising even though it went back to 2v2 like in the original Marvel vs. Capcom and before that. And the skeptical news that has been surfaced about the game, fans were getting disappointed in the sense of not having X-Men characters, Phoenix Wright from Ace Attorney, Beautiful Joe, and much more. And it was not looking good for Capcom in its production of the game. And with Disney owning the majority of Marvel characters, like the Avengers and not including the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, that spelled out doom and gloom for the game. Plus, using new characters like Ultron as a sense of functions for someone like Magneto with an 8-way dash seems like a very stupid idea to me. Meaningless functions should not replace a character. It just seems like a ridiculous idea for how Capcom and Marvel were doing at the time. With the limited amount of characters that they have, it's all blamed on Disney for interfering with the game. Functions in the fighting game shouldn't mean anything to everyone. It's just a silly feature and an excuse to not include a character just because. I hate this game with a passion because it didn't deliver us the magic of what made Marvel vs. Capcom great. And upon release, it was dead on arrival. How the roster of this game looked, it looked like a downgrade of the roster of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, with just simply the Avengers, along with Capcom guest characters. And it had more Marvel characters than Capcom, thus giving out that name that I given out. I don't like the way how some people would still show for this crappy ass game. Everything about this game is absolute shit. The gameplay, the story, etc. The 4-button layout of this game is like a parody to the 4-button layout from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Plus, replacing the assists with the Infinity Stones and freestyle tag in, tag out, it simply ruins the whole aspect of Marvel vs. Capcom and what makes it thrilling. The story mode is absolutely horrible. The way how the characters are designed, especially with Dante looking like a crack addict, and Chun-Li, her face looking ugly as hell. This game has failed on everything. It is absolutely horrible. No one should play this game because it's absolute fucking horrible. It's absolute fucking shit. People shouldn't remember this game at all. It was a failure, it was dead on arrival, and everyone hated it. Well, a majority of people hate it. Anyone who shows for this game and plays this game more often than any other game, you're not a true Marvel vs. Capcom fan. You're just not. If anyone had purchased the collector's edition of the game, which includes the figures of Mega Man X, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and Chun-Li, plus the so-called Infinity Stones that look like Easter eggs, but you don't take them out, you just simply see them line them up, and you've been scammed. The story mode is absolutely horrible. The way how it's written is just absolute shit. The story mode is absolute cringe. It's like they try way too hard to make it cool. I guess crossovers like this are not meant to have a story at all. Just simply a fighting game, a tag team fighting game, and that's it. The game sold poorly, and it was originally planned for more characters as DLC. But because it sold poorly, the DLC have been cancelled. Not only this game was bad and it sold poorly, but it is a mockery to the foundation of the franchise. And that foundation was the X-Men. And as I'm seeing right now, people are forgetting about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and they're going back to Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The reason why people are going back to Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is because these modders have quote-unquote added new characters in the game. The way how these people added new characters and how they do crazy modifications of the game, it just makes it look like a whole new game, a brand new video game, and a way to fill the void, something that Capcom has yet to fill. Anyway, I could talk about Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Community Edition, but for another time. I want to go back to shitting on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and get my last few words on it. Don't ever play it, it's fucking horrible, and it doesn't deserve any kind of recognition whatsoever. Anyway, in conclusion with this video, if anyone has anything to say about this, whether good or bad, feel free to say it. If it disgusts you, well then, too bad. This is my opinion, it's my video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this take on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe and give this video a like. That helps out a lot. And as always, this is Alex signing out. I'll see you next time.